Franklin County Detective Sergeant Jason Grellner. Let me hit the button here. Good morning, Jason Grellner.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
We're doing great. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with us. The Missouri legislature is writing this new criminal code. What is all this conversation going on down there? What is this about?
Well, it's written, and it's been passed by both the Senate and the House now. There's a substitute for a substitute for a substitute. It's over 680 pages long. It was the rewriting of the entire criminal code at one time. And we're going through it now that it's been passed, and as law enforcement, and finding that there's some problems with the bill. We weren't consulted. I won't say consulted. We weren't a part of the committee that was putting this all together, and it's a voluminous task when you're looking at the entire criminal code for the state of Missouri to pass it all at one time. And I'm not sure that everybody sat down and read 683 pages of criminal code.
So take me through this. Is this everything from speeding tickets to murder convictions to standardized sentences? I mean, what does this encompass? Everything to do with the criminal code?
It does. It covers everything from stealing a pack of bubble gum to murdering someone. And the new code sets out to try and, don't get me wrong. The criminal code is the criminal code, and we've added and taken away a lot of different things over the years. Each year, new criminal codes are added, and some are subtracted, or verbiage is changed in each one. And I think this was an attempt to go through and to standardize everything that's in the criminal code. But that, again, is a voluminous task. Even the writers said that it was a multi-year odyssey, is how it was explained in a letter to me. And I just think it might have been better had they picked out a section at a time or a couple of sections at a time and gone after each one of those to make sure that they were pinpoint accurate on each thing that they did. Because when we went back, especially, obviously, for narcotics officers and started looking at the codes that are specific to narcotics crimes, and obviously, as very well, near and dear to me, is pseudoephedrine legislation.
Right.
We find that there's a change in the legislation when it comes to the punishment phase. The initial part is found in 195-417, which talks about the sales limits of 9 grams in 30 days and 3.6 grams in a 24-hour period. And it also, in that portion, says that people can't purchase over those limits or they can't acquire over those limits. And then when it gets done in 195-417, it directs you to go to a different section, which is 579-060, to find the punishment for that. But when you go to the punishment phase, it's all about unlawful sale and distribution. There's no verbiage in there whatsoever for individuals who purchase over the limit or acquire over the limit. And so it would appear that there is no punishment for breaking that law. And if there's no punishment, then it's going to not get any prosecution.
Yeah. Back up a second, Jason Grellner. Did you said that you were not consulted? I mean, there clearly was some law enforcement at the table while this was being discussed.
Throughout, I can't say that there was anybody at the table. The table was prosecutors, defense attorneys. I think there was some people from Mothers Against Drunk Driving and some others at the table. But as far as sitting at the table constructing the law, there wasn't representation, I know, from the chief's organization. There was no representation from the narcs. There was no representation from the sheriffs. I think over time, as they did things, they may have called out to them and asked, hey, what do you think? But as far as sitting at the table and constructing this, no. There was no law enforcement at the table.
Anything else that has popped out in these pages besides the no punishment for buying too much Sudafed to make meth?
I know that the Chiefs Association has looked hard at the DWI language because they worked hard on that over the years, and that they have identified several problems and issues with the DWI language. And I know that there are other groups that are now taking a hard look. Again, it's a voluminous bill. It's 683 pages. And what we're being told is, well, it doesn't go into effect until January of 2017. Any of the problems that are in there we can fix in the next two legislative sessions. As you and I both know, that legislature gets very, very busy, and they can become sidetracked with different things. This year there was a lot of emphasis on school funding, and things like the Normandy School District popped up. The year before that, last year the legislature got bogged down with Second Amendment rights and things going on with the Missouri Department of Revenue and the the leakage of information on concealed carry. So there are many things that can sidetrack a legislature. And the fear is that if this bill goes through and the legislature doesn't get to these problems in the bill, this will become law on January 17th with these problems in it.
So has the Missouri Narcotics Officers Association, have you sent your letter to the legislature, and have you heard anything back?
We have. We received a letter back from Senator Dixon's office. I was hoping to hear from Senator Jolly Justice's office. Senator Dixon said that they've checked with the prosecutors and there's no problem with that language because it, again, says that the penalty can be found in that section. But again, when you go to that section, they have completely removed all of the wording regarding acquiring or purchasing. And we don't want to arrest pharmacists and pharmacy technicians. They've been some of our strongest allies at the local level in battling methamphetamine laboratories. They are the ones that call in. They are the ones that have gone out of their way to make sure as best they can that they're not selling to people who are manufacturing meth. We go after and target those who purchase large amounts or, stand on the Walgreens parking lot and shoulder tap people to go inside and buy pseudoephedrine for them. Those are the people that are breaking the law. Those are the people we want to go after. And in this current legislation, I don't see where we will have any penalty for doing that.
Are you recommending that Governor Nixon veto this?
At this point, I don't know where I stand on the veto. I would tell you that there needs to be some serious consideration of it, and I, like the governor, believe that he may have needed a little bit more time than 15 days to look through 683 pages of criminal code at one time. Again, it's a huge bill. People complain all the time about the size of some of these bills. 683 pages of criminal code is a lot to go through in 15 days and try to find every problem or every good point.
Plus, it's not written like a novel either.
No,
Exactly.
there are switchbacks in it and cutbacks, and you have this section now looks at this section, and so there's a lot of back and forth. And so reading it is not like reading chapter and after chapter. This chapter may then now reference another chapter completely different.
Yeah. Quickly, two more questions for you, Jason Grellner. Is there anything in this bill you really like?
In the narcotics section that I read, I've also got some philosophical problems and policy problems with how they're treating marijuana. They've downgraded 10 grams or less to a Class D misdemeanor now. And the problem with that is there's a fine associated with it. And I'm not telling you that I think everybody that gets arrested for marijuana should go to jail, but my problem with it is I think you're going to start seeing more people with marijuana convictions now at the misdemeanor level because people will be able to come in and pay a fine and be out the door and not think about what that's going to cost them in the future on their criminal history. Right now, we can have the options of some probation or some other things to do, but I think when you offer the people the option of just coming in, paying a fine, and being gone, suddenly we're going to see a lot more misdemeanor convictions for marijuana possession. And I'm not a legalizer, you know that.
Right.
But I think that there was a better way to craft that also to protect those who get caught with small amounts of marijuana while also making sure that the penalty fits the crime.
Jason Grellner, one question on meth. There was a story not too long ago, and it might have come from you. I'm not sure, though, but I want to get your question on it. There was a story that we quoted that there's a Walmart, I want to say in Fenton or Festus or somewhere, where when the truck pulls up to deliver the pseudoephedrine, there is a line of meth heads waiting out the door to collect the cold medicine with pseudoephedrine.
Yeah, Fenton, we fought long and hard in Fenton to get a prescription ordinance put in there. Actually, we won, but we didn't win by enough majority in their city council. And yes, the two Walgreens in that town have done the greatest thing I've ever seen. The two Walgreens managers stood up and said, "You know what? We're tired of this. We're tired of our calls for police and shrink." Those two stores combined were selling almost 24,000 boxes a year. They're now combined selling less than 2,000 boxes a year. And that has put a tremendous amount of pressure on the Walmart at Gravois Bluffs. And with talking with individuals at that store, you are completely correct. Within minutes of pseudoephedrine products arriving at the store, someone will find out, and the phones will start ringing, and you'll have a line from the pharmacy into the aisles of the store waiting to buy pseudoephedrine.
Goodness. And there's nothing they can do.
And there's nothing. No, the policy of the store is to sell to the customers to keep the customers moving. What this does, though, obviously, if you've got, and that store is grossing near 2,000 sales a month, is those people are taking up the time of real patients who want to get in and get real medication for real ailments, and they're forced to stand in line with and behind and amongst criminals who are there to buy pseudoephedrine, to manufacture methamphetamine, and to take up the valuable time of the pharmacists and the pharmacy technicians.
Jason Grellner, thank you for your work on the front lines. You're always welcome here, my friend.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for covering this.
Detective Sergeant Jason Grellner, he's the best. Franklin County Narcotics Enforcement Unit, talking about the new criminal code and his issues with it. 7:32 here, Big 550,